So I haven't done a review in quite a while because I have been in Italy attending a film festival. Not the Venice Film Festival, that was much earlier in the year, but this lovely film festival, it's Le Giornate del Cinema Muto, which means the week of silent cinema, also known as Pordenone Silent. And I believe I watched 107 films this year. I can't remember. It was less than previous years because they showed less shorts this year and fragments and things and more super long films. But as I'll show you if I can make sure my computer doesn't fall over while I do this, I watched a lot of movies. And in this booklet, got a lot of notes. See all these notes? I take notes on everything I watch at this festival. Notes and notes and notes and notes. So many notes. I'm just going to flip through the entire thing. Look at all these notes. Oh my god, I think my computer's about to fall. Stay, computer, stay while I flip. Okay, where are we at? We're on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What's that? Saturday, last day? I think this is the last day. Oh, that's the last day. Here we go. Done. So, watched a lot of movies. My favorites from so they had all kinds of films from 1880s on to God knows forever 1930 something because the Japanese silence went into the 30s. I think my favorites. Maybe I'll do my favorite from each day. Let's see. So many good ones. Well, so my favorite from the first night was Captain Salvation, which was supposed to be the premiere film in 2017, but the restoration wasn't done, and so they held it a year. And it was worth waiting a year. It was a really great film. I think it's on DVD, but not this new restoration. So the version that you would be able to see at home isn't as good. Sorry. Sunday, they did all these Balzacs that I really enjoyed. There was this movie called The Matterhorn. I'm not gonna say I enjoyed it, but I feel like I've climbed the Matterhorn. Like I've really climbed the Matterhorn. Let's see. Oh yes, there was this crazy movie from 1928 directed by James Cruise called The Mating Call, and it starred Thomas Meehan, who's one of my silent film boyfriends. And everything you could imagine, crazy thing that could happen in a movie happened in this movie, including the KKK. There was a lot. I really enjoyed it for all its crazy glory. There was this fantastic discovery called the Lincoln Cycle. It was a 10 two-reeler series. It was the brainchild of Benjamin Chapin, who played Lincoln in it, but it was actually directed by John M. Stahl. And 8 of the 10 sequences are currently available. 2 of them are lost. And so they showed the 8 that are available. And some of them were better than others, but the woman who played Lincoln's mother, was like the greatest thing. She was by far the best performer in the entire festival. There was a good runaway horse movie. So this shot right here is from this film called Smoldering Fires, and it's about a woman who took over her father's business in her early 20s, is now 40-something, unmarried, falls in love with a person. That person then falls in love with her baby sister, and first the one sister gives up the guy for her older sister's happiness, and then the older sister gives up the guy for the younger sister's happiness, and both sisters deserved a better guy. It's pretty much the plot there. There's this crazy movie called The Child Thou Gavest. They showed on Monday that had Louis Stone in it. That was a crazy movie. That was the John M. Stahl. John M. Stahl mostly did melodrama, and there's just some of them you were good, and others you were like, oh my god, too much. They showed a bunch of John H. Collins films. John H. Collins I discovered at Pordenone the first year I went, 2016, and they showed some of his later films. And in this one, they showed his mid teens films he made with Edison, and you could sort of see how they inspired his later films. Unfortunately, John M. Stahl died in 1919 of the Spanish flu. Not actually Spanish, but the big flu epidemic. And so we only have about 5 or so years of his films, and they're so good that it's one of those guys where you can just imagine what you would have gotten had he lived, because his films are so good. Um, they showed this movie called The Extraordinary Adventures of Mr. West in the Land of the Bolsheviks. It was a Soviet film, basically trying to show how Americans have the wrong idea about what the Soviet life in the Soviet Union is like, and it's great. Um, Both the life in the Soviet Union is great, and the film was great. Let's see. There was a movie called Paris at Midnight, which was an adaptation of a Balzac, and Lionel Barrymore is shirtless in it. So if you've ever wanted to see a shirtless Lionel Barrymore, that's the film for you. This poster is amazing. This is for a film about a man who decides that his daughter needs to be raised by his wife, and he needs to raise his son, but he turns his son into this like horrible asshole, and then he throws him back into the ocean. Unfortunately, the kid does not stay in the ocean, and he was awful and should have. There's a movie called Suspicious Wives, and all I wrote was preposterous. So that's that. What else? What else? Let's see. Oh, beautiful restoration of the Phantom Carriage. I'd seen the Phantom Carriage before, but that was a gorgeous, gorgeous restoration. There was a movie called the Cintas Pina, which starred Francesca Bertini. This is her right there. She created the Italian diva genre, and they actually showed a documentary about her at the last day of the fest. And she directed or co-directed, however you want to call it, almost all of the 100 films that she made in a 10-year period. She was the OG sort of star director, auteur. She was amazing. She made most of her films between the ages of 16 and 26 and then pieced out. There was this great, hilarious film called The Parsons Widow that was from Sweden, and it was directed by Carl Theodor Dreyer. And really, really strange story, but just beautiful and hilarious. And the woman playing the Parsons Widow was a comedy genius. Let's see. Oh, there was this great. They did the retrospective of Mario Bernard films, and there was this great one called I Promessi Sposi, which is like the affianced, the betrothed. There we go. I'm like, what is the English word? And it's this epic, almost hour and a half long film about these couple that want to get married, but the like nobleman that owns the land near them doesn't want them to get married, and he breaks up their marriage and is trying to turn her into like his prostitute basically. But they escape and go to a convent, and then the Black Plague happens, and then they have to like survive the Black Plague and a bread riot and all kinds of things in order to get back together and get married. And thankfully, it is a romance, so they get back together after literally going through every single thing you could possibly go through before getting married. Let's see. Husbands and Lovers was really, really good. It would have been a great 65-minute comedy, but unfortunately, John M. Stahl shoehorned in about 25 minutes of melodrama that it really didn't need. So it dragged at bits, and it could have been really, really great if they just shorn some of that out. But Lewis Stone was hilarious and great as the romantic lead, and I would never have expected Lewis Stone to be like a romantic comedic lead, but he did it, and he has a nice butt in this movie. So you don't see his actual butt, you see his a very form-fitting suit, but as a butt person, let's see. Okay, so Thursday they showed this great film called The Enemy, which was directed by Fred Niblo. It's missing a little bit of the end of the film, but it's this great anti-war World War I movie that's very anti-rich people, anti boundaries, anti nationalism, basically blaming all of that on how we got to war and how we were fighting our friends and how crazy that is. Beautiful performance from Lillian Gish. She's stunning. At one point they eat a pro-war parrot. I'll let that sink in. There was a movie with an aviatrix, and you'd think a movie with an aviatrix would be great. Unfortunately, it just turned into this like really depressing like woman who's too interesting gets stuck with a dumb man. Happened a lot in these films. Great, interesting women and terrible men was like the theme. Okay, so my favorite film of the year was on Thursday night. It was Atlantide from Atlantide. I always say that wrong. Atlantide from 1921. It's the Jacques Villers version, and it was this beautiful 3-hour restoration done by Lobster Films. It won't be on Blu-ray. I asked Serge Bromberg, and he said unfortunately probably not. So I'm really glad I saw it. The tinting is so gorgeous and so subtle and so wonderful, and it's just an amazing film, and I'm so glad I got to see it. That was followed by a great restoration of a German version of The Hound of the Baskervilles that the San Francisco Silent co-funded. That one was also quite good. This poster is misleading. See those boobs? There were no boobs in the movie that this poster was a poster for. Um, let's see. There's a great film from John M. Stahl called Memory Lane, not too melodramatic for once, with an amazing lead performance from Billy Haynes. Gotta love a Billy Haynes film. Let's see, this is Friday. A whole bunch of great Swedish films, always are. Friday night was this wonderful Lubitsch called Forbidden Paradise that I had never seen before, starring Pola Negri, and she's this like very horny empress who like sleeps with everybody, and then accidentally sleeps with this one guy who happens to be like her lady in waiting's um, uh, fiance, but also he was trying to stop a um, uprising, and then he's gonna try to make the uprising happen. And it's all a comedy though. And Adolf Menjou stole the movie. He is so funny in it, like so funny. Let's see. There was a short where a chimpanzee was supposed to get shaved. Turns out it was a monkey. So they mislabeled it way back when. Didn't know what a chimpanzee was. I don't know. Let's see. A lot of notes on this page. Holy crap. This was the last day though. So In Old Kentucky was crazy. It was a crazy John Stahl, but it was like a Warhorse meets Seabiscuit meets like not intolerance. Any kind of pro Old South kind of movie. It was kind of a mess. That's why there's so many notes on this page. I was mostly noting like slavery was terrible, and the black people in the South did not have nostalgic feelings for it, so don't put that in your movies. So the final film was this crazy, crazy movie. Oh, wait. Okay. Then they showed the 1920 version of Last of the Mohicans, which surprisingly not racist, an actual correct interpretation of the film. The 92 Michael Mann one whitewashes and makes Hawkeye the like white character, the main character. He's not supposed to be the main character. And I didn't know that. And then I watched this movie and I'm like, this is not how I remember that. And then I looked up the story and I was like, holy shit, this 1920 version actually centers it on this interracial love story as the main plot point, and not like this, whitewash version that you see in 92. That's crazy. It had a beautiful, sad final moment. I loved it. It was great. And then the final film was The Chess Player, and it was this like crazy movie with automatons and I don't even know, like Poland trying to get free from the Soviet Union, or Poland trying to get free from, I guess it was still the Austro-Hungarian, some empire. Poland was trying to get free from the empire. They didn't want to be Russian, but then this guy they have to hide him because he's like the pro-Poland, head of the pro-Poland, whatever, and he gets hid inside this chess-playing automaton, but then this one guy figures it out, but then he goes to try to get this important piece of information, and he gets attacked by guard automatons, and he gets murdered by an army of guard automatons, and it was amazing. And we don't make anything quite like that anymore. So this is the 37th annual Pordenone Silent Film Festival. It is the greatest week of my life every year. I absolutely highly recommend going to it if you get the chance. It is so good. You will love it. I can't wait to go next year. Pordenone Silent.